love bugs! Welcome back to yet another fabulous episode of The Rainbow Show. So on today's show, I wanted to go back into herstory, honey. I wanted to let the gays, the LGBTQ community know where it all began. So we're going to be doing, my topic is going to be, you ready? The 1970s, a decade of transitions between Stonewall and AIDS. You probably don't even know what Stonewall is if you're probably 26 and under. If you're 27 and over, you might have heard of it, but now if you're 35 into your 50s, girl, you lived it. And then I have a special guest today who's going to be talking about the AIDS portion of it because he's an expert. Had him on the show before, and I'm going to call upon his expertise again. Jesus will be here joining us today. And for all of your girl talk, honey, on my Hot Topics, Lady Gaga Superbowl, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Beyonce's announcement of her expecting dos nenes, which are twins. And we're also going to be talking about your RuPaul Drag Race Season 9 cast that was revealed. I want to know your thoughts on that. And of course, we're going to be talking about your favorite president, not my president, but Mr. Donald Trump. We're going to talk about his Muslim ban, and we're going to be talking about his Secretary of Education pick, Miss Betsy Devos, and her $200 million payoff. Can you please press stop? We'll be right back.
Young, wild, and free. We don't care what you think. We're more than you see. And we believe there's nothing we can be. You're young, wild, and free. We don't care what you think. And we believe there's nothing we can be. There's nothing we can be. We believe there's nothing we can be.
Hey y'all, so today I'm excited because I got some a little bit of tea, just a little bit. But I wanted to talk to you about Lady Gaga's Superbowl performance. What did y'all think about that? Was it political or was she just doing her thing? Excuse me, but what I didn't understand was it was pre-recorded. She gagged me. I thought that was live. The top, when she fell off the roof and all that stuff, when she jumped off the roof, that was pre-recorded. I thought it was live. And so I watched the last Pepsi thing after the Super Bowl and it showed her talking to all the people. Talking about, well, thank you for being here. That didn't happen during the live Super Bowl, so it was pre-recorded. See, they started when she was like on the second tier going down to when she started singing live on the Super Bowl. Everything else was recorded that day. Anywho, I think she did an amazing job. I think that Lady Gaga represents not only a mega pop star, I think that her heart is in the right place. Since the Super Bowl, she announced her world tour. Joanne, I need you guys to go check out the North American tour. But not only that, I've seen so many give-backs. She went to this LGBTQ shelter and just gave showered with gifts. She was in a different country and she was speaking to this little 9-year-old and he was like, can you sing? And she slayed Born This Way. So I think that she has, not only is she an ally, I think she's more of a role model or somebody that we can look up to because her heart's in the right place and she's utilizing her platform for the right reason. Not only that is she boycotting the whole Trump thing, and you know, I don't blame her for doing it because she is on our side. She's an actual strong independent woman who's doing her thing. So check out her tour. I'm buying my ticket. Well, actually, Jesus is going to buy my ticket because he's going to go buy my next concert ticket. So that's where we're going to go see Lady Gaga. I'm just saying, on live. Just saying it. Alright, and then the next thing I want to talk about is Miss Beyonce. So Miss Beyonce, what I don't get is, instead of her Beehive folks congratulating her, they're mad. Oh, what does this mean? No more music from Beyonce? I'm like, can the woman have a family? She has blue ivy, now she got green and yellow ivy coming and she'll be fine. She'll have a nice little happy life with Jay-Z, if they're his, and you know, they'll keep it moving. Like, let the woman live. Beyonce is human. Beyonce's biological clock is clicking. She better have all the kids that she can have now, because statistically I was watching The View and they said when you're like 30, like it's hard to have kids. Which I know somebody who was 60 who had kids, but they're saying that women's at their peak, they're best to have kids in their 20s. At 30 it becomes complicated that their ovaries and their eggs aren't as fertile, and then they do a lot of IV interventions, and that's how I guess she had her twins, and how J-Lo had hers, and how Mariah had hers. But anyways, we just want to say congratulations, Beyonce. I hope that this family of yours is everything that you expect and that you can enjoy them, okay? So let's talk about the season 9 reveal. All I'm going to say is that I did some research on these girls. I'm excited. I think this is going to be the best season of RuPaul's Drag Race. It's going to go down in history. And the reason why I say that is because all 13 all 13 of those girls are all stellar performers. They twirl, flip, dip. Their lip sync is amazing. The only one that I have not seen perform is the Charlie... the one from UK, the 52-year-old. But she's 52. She don't have to perform. She already made her note. She's the oldest queen. Bitch, I'll be 53 by the time they call me girl. That's like in 34 seasons to go. But anyways, she's funny. She's from UK. And oh, before I get into my next thing, I just want to say congratulations to Peppermint. First trans woman to ever grace RuPaul's Drag Race. So that's going down in history by itself. So this season is going to be epic because you got a trans, you got a 52-year-old non-US citizen from England competing, and then you have 13 amazing performers. So stay tuned. It comes out sometime in April or May. All right, who y'all voting for? Let me know. Be back. Bye.
Hi, I'm Manila Luzon, and I'm here in fucking Worcester. Worcester, of all places. And, you shouldn't check out my interview with Larraine on YouTube. YouTube.com/Larraine. Just read it down right here. Just read it. Just read it right there. It's in the description. Just read it below. Yeah, I don't know.
So welcome back to my show topic. So today I wanted to kind of empower, educate, and inform about where we all started from, because I feel like in this new millennium we are at a point where we are in 2017 and we have come a long way as the LGBTQ community, but the struggle was real. So I decided to take a glimpse into the 70s gay activism. And the reason why I chose the 70s, because I was born late 70s, so nor have I experienced these, but I've been very well educated through them. And I lived through the 80s, 90s, so I felt just the aftermath of what it is that our founding gay fathers and mothers have done in order for us to progress to where we are today. And I found an article which is a glimpse into the 1970s gay activism. It's a remarkable, frank examinations of the LGBTQ issues during the transformative decade between Stonewall and AIDS. And this article stood out to me because we hear Stonewall, we hear New York Club, or we hear Stonewall, we just think that a Stonewall. But we don't know the history behind the Stonewall of 1969, that very important day that the drag community said, I will not tolerate this anymore. I refuse to be treated differently. I am a human, I have rights, and I want to be just like you, speaking to the society. And they caused a huge riot. So I just kind of want to read just a little bit to you guys, just to kind of inform you of what happened, okay? We're going to paraphrase. Just saying. So the 1960s came to a close with still perhaps the most incredible event that recent American gay history, the Stonewall riot of June 28, 1969. So that was the date, folks. June 28, 1969, okay? So basically the historic event was like no other civil rights movement in American ever to unveil the, the rioting and the, spanking by drag queens. And when they say spanking by drag queens, meaning that the drag queens were the ones that said we had enough. Because, mind you, everything was closeted back then. You didn't have an open gay male. I'm reading this article, if I'm not mistaken, not into the mid-70s was the first political gay male that was open, that was elected into office in one of the senates of San Francisco. But anywho, so what I'm saying is that they were very closeted back then. So could you imagine the passion that we burn inside of us right now of wanting to be able to dress freely and express our artistic value? We couldn't even do that back then. So these drag queens said, I had enough. So they rioted right in front of Stonewall, which was the premier gay club. And it very started when that drag queen took off her heel and she hit that shoe. And I bet y'all don't even know that. As soon as that heel said, it was a wrap. So it went down in her street, girl. So let me just read a little more facts. So really, that was 69. 70s is when it really became a civil rights movement in the LGBT community, because those years that followed, the decade of the 70s, represented as a remarkable period of transformation for the gays and lesbians, particularly those that lived in American cities. At its core, the transformation was about visibility during these years. There was the first gay television movie, and it was called Sex. Actually, it was the first gay movie that actually had the sex on screen kiss between two men, called Sunday, Blood Sunday. So that was something that I didn't even know. So that was some education that I've learned, that the first movie that hit the United States of America that had any homosexuality in it was called Sunday, Blood Sunday. So I'm going to go watch that to see if there's a steamy man-on-man kiss. I wonder if it was City Portier. Probably not, but I just want to see who these men's that was kissing were all, because, they got some pates in the dwellers, honey. And then the release of another one, which was the Cabaret, which has been held as the first movie that really collaborated homosexuality. There were gains in politics to Edward. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. Serving in Congress, became one of the first elective officials to publicly lobby on behalf of the homosexuality in Greenwich Village. So, what did we learn so far? Stonewall 69 riot, leading into the decade of the 70s with the first gay movie. Well, actually, it was a television movie. Sex on screen kiss between two men. And it was called Sunday, Blood Sunday. And then we have Edwin. I'm going to call it Coach because it sounds more gay. Edwin Coach. Just saying, it sounds sexier. Was the first U.S. Congress Senate to actually acknowledge homosexuality, which was good. And then perhaps inspired by these changes, in 1976, the New York Public Television Stations, honey, which is WENT today known as Channel 13, girl. You get that? So in New York in 1976, this was a year before I was born. I wasn't even born yet. And we want to sit here and be shady to the community. And this is what they were going through. I wasn't even born. My mom, I don't know what she was doing in 76. I wasn't born. She was probably meeting dad at that point. But anywho, so in 76, Channel 13, which back then was WNET, featured a live 3-hour special called Outreach, Lesbian, and Gay Men. So they, in 76, released a actual television program, a live 3-hour special called Outreach, Lesbian, and Gay Men. So to me, what that sounds like is that they were outreaching to the community, to the gay men and the lesbians. I haven't seen it. I'm going to check that out, so you check that out. See what else is going on, honey. What else happened? So those were like the real climaxes that I seen in here. I told you I was paraphrasing. That happened in the 70s. But then came the 80s. Now this is what I remember. Shortly, late 80s, came a disease. A disease that was introduced to the U.S. soil that was branded a homosexuality disease because it was founded in a gay stewardess. It was a gay stewardess who flew international. Very, very, excuse me, handsome European and gentleman. I don't recall his name, but I know that he was very sexual, promiscuous, and he all over from San Francisco to New York to, down south to Europe, was having all these sexual encounters with these men. So this is how it was rumored to enter into us. Whether it's proven or not, I don't know. I personally think it was a conspiracy against the government to control population, and they just threw that out there like they did like the plague and everything else that they do, honey. That's my personal opinion, but they blamed it on the stewardess who said that he was having sex with men, just to blame it on somebody, because at that point homosexuality was an abomination. You couldn't be gay and have a religious relationship with your God. You couldn't be gay and live a productive civil life, as they would say back in society. So they blamed it on the gays. So I remember this hitting, and what was interesting to me, and I found out about it because I remember I was in 6th grade, they sat us in the auditorium, and we had some experts come in from the Control Center of Disease, and they had this big presentation about acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS, which stems from HIV, which is the virus. It then turns into that. Thank you for that, and that's my guest in the background correcting me, because that's why he's the expert, and that's why he'll be out here in just about 2.5 to talk to y'all about it. But so I remember it because my uncle died of it he was straight, he was, you know, a heroin addict using needles, and he died of that, and very quickly. I remember he was diagnosed one year, he was gone the next. Maybe 2 years tops. So that was how my experience of it. So I was just like, oh, I can't be homosexual. And trust me, honey, at 13, I was looking at the boys' pee-pees in the bathroom, girl. I was like, oh, he's so hot. But I was scared. I was afraid. I didn't know if that was something that, you know what I mean, you can get it by kissing. Then they started educating you. And as I got older and got more informed, I started realizing, hey, this isn't a death sentence. This is something now that we can freely live with. We can, you know, accept somebody for what it is that they have. Although to me, it's a terminal illness because eventually you will die from it. Just like, well, I don't know, because, girl, Magic Johnson's still alive, honey. And he's been, I think, has he been cured, from my understanding?
I don't think he is.
Like, they, like, flushed his blood out and stuff?
I don't think that's possible.
I'm just telling you what the rumors are, honey.
You can't believe everything you read, Larraine.
Hello! Bitch, Donald Trump's president, why not? So, anywho, that's Jesus in the background. I'm going to go ahead and go to commercial, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to go ahead and set him up. Okay, so we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Manila Luzon, and I'm here in fucking Worcester. Worcester, of all places. And, you shouldn't check out my interview with Larraine on YouTube. YouTube.com/ Larraine. Just read it down right here. Just read it. Just read it right there. It's in the description. Just read it below. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, welcome back. So I'm back here with my special expert on HIV and AIDS. It's Jesus. He was here with me before, and we did an HIV piece, and then we also got another future piece coming out, and something that he's doing with his mom, which is tremendously to be saluted for. But we're not going to tell you too much about that because we want you to watch it. So how have you been?
I've been doing really good.
I know, he got some videos out. How's that going?
Amazing. I'm getting amazing feedback, and it just feels good to finally have my work out in the world.
Okay, and if you don't know, he's also a poet, and he's releasing a visual poet kind of book, right?
Yes, a visual chapbook.
Yeah, chapbook, and it has his first one was stunning. What was it called?
His Innocent Voice HIV.
His Innocent Voice HIV, which leads us to him being here. He's on iTunes. He's everywhere, so you can go check him out. Check out the video if you haven't seen it. I'll be adding it to my page as well, so you can share it on my website. Anywho, so let's talk about. Do you remember HIV in the 80s, or are you more of a millennium type of?
Well, back in the 80s, I was born in 81, so in the late 80s, I heard about HIV, but I heard that it was called like the monster and motro. Mm-hmm. That's all I heard about HIV, but I didn't know anything else about it.
It was so funny is that I heard that term now. I thought that was a millennium thing. So they used to call it the monster back then. The monster,
yeah.
Yeah, the monster, shady people. So explain to us, what is the actual virus? What is it?
Well, HIV actually, it's very intriguing to me actually, because what HIV does, HIV mimics. So what HIV does, as you know, we have an immune system. At any time a foreign object goes into our immune system or any germs, our immune system sends off these fighters to go ahead and fight off the foreign object. And what ends up happening is that HIV kind of mimics the cell. So when
they don't know it's there.
No, they don't, and they think it kind of emulates the cell and it mimics the cell, so it thinks it's one of them.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yes.
Is it the white cell or the red cell?
It's the white blood cell.
Okay, so wow, see, this is why I love these types of shows, and I love my job. So, so the immune system is designed to fight off sicknesses and viruses,
foreign infections, common colds, and
things of that nature, which happens so often. And so the actual virus of HIV mimics the white blood cell. Correct. So they think it's healthy for the immune system.
Well, not necessarily healthy, but what it thinks, as it enters the body, it would automatically be a foreign object. But what it does, it mimics the cell. So as it's going into replication mode, the white blood cell doesn't look at it as a foreign object or anything. So that's how HIV replicates in the body.
And that's how it stays in there. So now, explain to me, how does one go from HIV to the AIDS? What is the two difference of the stages?
In order for someone to be diagnosed AIDS, I believe that their count has to go under 300.
Okay, and when you say count under 300, meaning that they have... Okay, because I've talked to folks, and a lot of folks say that they're undetective, and that they have HIV but it's undetected. Is that because they're under that line of numbers that you're speaking about?
Well, no. What happens is with undetected people, there's not enough HIV in one blood drop to detect the virus itself.
But if they take 2 drops, it might.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not a scientist.
Well, I'm just saying, girl, I need to know this from you.
What they say is that there's not enough HIV so it can be picked up on a test or it can be transmitted to someone else.
So they can't transmit it to somebody else, or they can?
I mean, there's a possibility that they could transmit it, but an undetectable person, it's less likely for you to transmit HIV.
Okay, whew, this is a lot of education. I love it. So now let's move on to the next thing that I had a question about. PrEP. And I'm a recent grinder down low E. Don't do it. It's a waste of your time and money. If you pay the $2.99 in the monthly fee, girl, don't do it. So is it the same antibiotic that you're on when you're infected? Is that how they're counteracting it? Kind of like, if for an example, we're going to use this hypothetically. Hypothetically, I have HIV. Hypothetically, I have HIV and you and I are sexually intimate. You do not have it, right? And if you are taking the same medication that I'm taking, which is considered the PrEP, right? That means that it won't affect you because you're already kind of blocking it with the medicine. That's what I'm trying to understand.
PrEP, first and foremost, PrEP is a preventative. PrEP,
okay, it's like a condom.
It's similar to a condom, but the pill that they give you is actually Truvada, and Truvada is a HIV medication. Okay. That some people take. There's different types of regimens that people take. Some are triplas, some are Truvadas. It all depends
on where you
on
are.
What works best. No, not necessarily where you are, but what works best for their body. Okay. Because what works for me won't work for you. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So PrEP is basically
kind of like an antibiotic. Like Percocets might not work for me, but Vicodins will.
Absolutely. Okay. So a PrEP pill, what it does, it prevents someone from getting HIV. So like you stated, if let's say you were to be positive and I was to be negative, I can get on the PrEP pill and it will prevent me from getting HIV.
Is it 100%?
It's like 99% accurate. I wouldn't necessarily tell people to go out and have unprotected sex and take the PrEP pill because you're still at risk and you're able to catch any STI as well. So it's not just HIV that you should be protecting yourself against. It should be other, sexually transmitted infections.
And what's funny is when I grew up, they were STDs. They went from STDs to STIs.
Yes, and they changed the name of it because STD is sexually transmitted disease. It's kind of a negative connotation it has with it.
Because disease is really uncured as infections are.
Exactly. And it just sounds so much, and for someone that's battling with the virus, for them to hear you have a disease, when I work with my clients, I don't necessarily say you have a disease, I say you have a condition.
Right. Okay, I can rock with that, a condition. So what are the most important ground rules that you can give to someone who is infected and has contracted it? Because I know that it's a real issue, people, and a lot of this can be kind of I don't even want to say prevented at the point when you already have it, but it could be healthy for your education purposes. Get educated, get counseling, get help. It's not a death sentence like it was back in the 80s when we grew up.
Absolutely.
It's actually something, like you said, it's a condition that you can actually live with.
It's a healthy way of living.
Yeah, it's a healthy way of living. Like he said, you can't do, you can't be out there sniffing 8 balls every night.
Not necessarily you can, and I'm not suggesting none of you doing that.
No, but I'm just saying.
But yes, you just have to change the way you live your life. You have to eat healthy, you have to live a healthy life, you have to work out, and these are things that you should do.
Anyways.
Any person that should do, living their life, so it's nothing different.
Work out? What is that? Eating healthy? What is that? I want a chuleta.
I love chuleta.
No, I want chuleta. I want pollo guisado. I want arroz blanco. I want lasagna. But no, I get it. So guys, it's not. So what would you say to somebody who does not have it? What is the best course of action to protect themselves? Because I'm thanking God that I'm not in this whole millennium dating thing, because I am so cautious. Like, I want 3 rubbers on me.
I think my suggestion to the community as a whole is just to protect yourself, wear a condom, and treat everyone.
2 or 3. There's nothing wrong with that. It hurts a little bit, but...
And that's something that you should be careful about as well, because when you're wearing 2 condoms, the frictions from the condoms could possibly... You thinking you're protecting yourself 2 times and 3 times, but in all reality, when you're having sex and you have 2 or 3 condoms on, the friction between the condoms can possibly make the condom break. So you're thinking that you're helping yourself and you're really not.
See, education, girls.
Absolutely. And
So what is the best brand? Trojan, Magnum, Double XL.
Well, it all depends on who you lay with.
I love me
you
some
know,
Magnum,
but
Double XL.
I'm very old fashioned. I'm a lifestyle kind of guy. You know?
Listen, I'm gonna give a big shout outs to all those free condoms in the club. They saved mama's life.
Yes.
I got them in my purse, my car, my dresser, my bag.
I have them in my trunk, literally.
They're like, I'm gonna come get a couple from you, girl. You don't need them.
And I got the big size one, so you're great.
No, but I don't mean to make joke of it, but sometimes we have to kind of like make light of a serious subject, you know, just to kind of get it across, guys. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up and just say, listen, education is the most important thing in anything that we can do as human beings moving forward, besides communication, because communication is what ignites the education. So that's why I wanted to do this piece and go back to what the Stonewall was, to what it is that the LGBTQ has been facing. Last week I talked about what we still face. I want you to know, what they faced back then. So I wanted to go back to the time where some of those parents weren't even born yet when all this was happening in the 69s, you know? And I wanted you guys just to say that this is a non-shade episode. This is an episode of just saying, empower yourself to know your history. In school, we are forced to learn about Martin Luther King and Black History Month and about the Indians, about Christopher Columbus, and about the Civil... But they're not forcing you to learn your history about what the LGBT community came from and what it stands for.
Absolutely, and I want to just say, not only know your history, but just pay respect to those that are out there, whether they're up and coming drag queens or whether you don't understand their aesthetics. You know, I see so much shade going on in the gay community, and it kills. Okay. And I really want to highlight and appreciate the fact that you're saying this history. And with that being said, I think that there's so much shade going on in our gay community.
Yes.
And I think that it's opposed to drag queens uplifting and understanding, you know, they're throwing shade with one another, they're not understanding each other's aesthetics, and they're throwing like shade. And I think that they need to learn and understand their history so they can appreciate one another like they should. I also want to say that I commend you. I commend you, Larraine, because you're the voice of the LGBT community, you know, for the drag queens and for a lot of people. You have a huge following, and what you're doing, I don't see a lot of people doing. You know, so continue doing what you're doing. Don't let nobody stop you, you know. You're a beautiful person, mind, body, and soul, and you're helping the community. And because of you, a lot of people are able to live in their life. And I just want to say I commend you and my hat's off to you. And lastly, I want to say make sure you guys go to iTunes or any major music
download
my new single is
I get 10%.
She's my momager. It's entitled His Innocent Voice HIV, and it's available on all major music outlets right now. And just please take a moment to follow me on Instagram at Fashioneer, or look me up on Facebook at Jesus Rosa. I'm trying to do the best that I can to inspire my community. What better way than actually my poetry? So make sure you guys follow me.
And with that said, we're going to close it out by saying that I salute you as well, because I know that it is hard to be not only a political figure and an advocate and do what we believe in to do, and to be just a gay man and a drag queen in this society, and having to deal with a generation that we don't understand. And a generation that don't understand us. And you as well do so much for the community. I see it. Your posts are always... you know, people may not understand them, but I understand them. They get me through my day. So I want to thank you for that. And I'm going to go ahead and download her or his, or however you want to refer to him. His. I remember when we went to that school thing, pronoun. That was like, was it pronoun? I was like, what is that?
She did. Yeah, exactly, because she's a woman.
Right, yeah. So I didn't know. So him, go download his stuff. No, and I truly am a supporter. And one day maybe him and collaborate. But I'm going to move on. But before that, I just want to say we have one more episode coming out. This, beyond an HIV advocate, a friend, somebody who's actually doing his thing. Most importantly, he's a son. And he's going to be doing something incredible in the next couple months that's going to make a dramatic difference within his family and his mom's life. And I don't want to just say too much of that, but just stay tuned, because yous are going to gag. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Manila Luzon, and I'm here in fucking Worcester. Worcester, of all places. And, you shouldn't check out my interview with Larraine on YouTube. YouTube.com/ Larraine, just read it down right here. Just read it. Just read it right there. It's in the description. Just read it below. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, y'all, so again, I am here with Queers with Political Views. This show, this little segment I like because I just want to speak to you about our 45th president, Donald Trump. So what's going on now is I just want to give you a little update, and I want to say I am super happy of the 9-Wonder Court, honey, and the federal government who shot down his appeal. So basically, if you don't know what happened, Donald Trump decided to get on a little executive order spree, honey, and just started just signing shit like he was the man. But he didn't realize just because you're the president of the United States, you don't have all the power, boo-boo. So he created this executive order to ban travel from 7 Islamic countries that supposedly the Barack Obama administration identified as high risk. Mind you, there's no facts that any one of those 7 countries had any terrorists on U.S. soil. But the 3 that he didn't ban, honey, that he owns property and has some type of interest of financial gain in, he didn't ban, that actually had 9/11 terrorists. It just didn't make sense. So it went to the court, honey, and the judge that denied it, God bless you, honey, he saw right through all that little shadiness. So he went and appealed it. Denied again, honey. 3-0. 3 judges said, boop, 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 bring me facts before we did. So now our people are back home, and they are here. They are back in the land of the free. So I just want to say, yay! Donald, honey. Anyways, and then the next thing I want to talk about is, girl, that we didn't have a victory on. Call me a liberal, call me whatever you want to call me, honey, but I'm a realist. So this Betsy Devos girl who donated $200 million to some GOP for whatever reason is now the Secretary of Education. She has not. If you've watched this woman's interviews, she's as dumb as a doornail. They asked her how does she feel? This is what gagged me. How does she feel about guns in schools? She said, I want more guns in schools to keep the grizzly bears out. This is what our Secretary of Education is saying. No public experience, from a billionaire family, none of her kids ever had federal assistance. She didn't even know what the difference between loss and gain in a student. The senator that gave the most perfect analogy that he said, and forgive me, I don't remember his name right now because he tickled me fancy. He said, I asked her the most simplistic question about education. This is a woman who's going to be in charge of billions and $trillions of education, federal government money for our public education. And she didn't know the difference between how to measure growth and measure. That she didn't even know. So he gave this analogy. I'm at an interview. I want to be the head coach of a university. So I'm sitting in front of the panel and they ask me, being the person who wants to be the head coach, how many yards is it in a first down? And this is the answer that I give you. Well, I'm sure to tell you, I'm going to go ahead and get as many first yards as I can possibly get, and I'm going to train, and I'm going to have these boys run down there, and today go ahead and get a touchdown. Does that even make sense? That's not the question. The question was, how many yards is in a first down? As somebody who wants to be a football athletic coach, I should know that answer. I don't beat around it what the administration does for Trump. She didn't even know that. So that's how stupid it is. But you know what? It was a tie. And Mike Pence, believe it or not, was a tiebreaker and appointed her Secretary of State because she got guap. She got this. She got money. They're going to profit off of our kids' education. They're going to go ahead and put it in their pocket. And our kids are going to not have the education that they need because they're going to be forced to go to private school, like us middle class and the poor can afford our kids to go to private school because she thinks private school. And mind you, this is a lady who statistically in Michigan has opened charter school for profit. And everyone has failed. Every single one of them has failed out of the 9 that she opened. And this is the lady who they control our $1 trillion or $1 billion deficit of education budgets or whatever. I don't get it. Listen, all I got to say is God be with us. Thank you to the courts for denying the ban. Donald Trump, I need you to get it together, boo-boo, and be a little more well prepared. And I need you to go ahead and stop this rash decisioning. Like, I don't even want to get into the whole Nordstrom thing because that's for another whole show. All I'm saying is, y'all, keep watching, keep your voice, keep protesting, keep sharing, keep making aware to the American people. For those that voted for Donald Trump, they will see. And it is flipping really quick, girls. Trust me. It was going from him being God to being impeached soon. I can't wait. Anyways, I gotta go. Love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, you can catch me every Wednesday at www.youtube.com/LarraineBowTV. You can also visit my website for all social medias, which is LarraineBowShow.com. So make sure to check me out. Support me. I love you guys. 6 seasons strong. And you guys are amazing. Without you, I am a nobody. And you are my fuel. Good night.
Young, wild, and free. We don't care what you think.